Court is calling 2024 CR 010525, State versus Aaron Ramirez. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Samantha Lynn Brown for the state.
For the defense?
John St. Heinrichs for Aaron Ramirez.
And are you Aaron Ramirez?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you entered a plea on January 16th to paragraph A. You entered a plea of no contest. A PSI and MIC evaluation was ordered. According to the plea bargain agreement, punishment is to be assessed at a cap of 8 years in the prison, and the state is silent on your applications. And there are different cases that are being taken into consideration. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI and cap evaluation?
Defense has, Your Honor.
State has, Your Honor.
Any objection from the state?
No objection, Your Honor.
Any objection from the defense?
No objections from the defense, Judge.
All right, the state is silent. Defense, do you have any witnesses?
I do, Your Honor.
Yes.
First off, may I make an opening statement, Judge?
Sure.
Your Honor, my client has appeared timely for every Florida parent, and he's here again today to accept responsibility and culpability for the crimes that he's committed, Judge. But if I may be allowed to offer some context to this, Your Honor.
Yes.
My client has severe, he has mental health issues, Judge. And this is not to make light or to make excuses for this situation. My client's parents had separated when he was 5. He's known one of the victims of this case, and there are 2 victims, and they are in fact victims, Judge. He's known one of the victims since he's been a child, childhood friends. The other victim is his childhood friend's girlfriend, Judge. My client has experienced, due to his parents leaving, and hardships growing up. His mom is the primary influence in his life and has raised him. His father's been in and out of the picture, Judge. Due to this, he's got some sense of abandonment issues. While he was growing up, his mom had moved yearly, so he's starting new schools. I think the impetus of this crime was to maintain some kind of connection to his childhood friend. When his childhood friend got into a relationship, he started feeling abandoned. This was his way to connect with him. Now, it doesn't stand logic. There are issues with this. My client has been seeking mental health treatment before this incident and after this incident. He's still currently seeking counseling right now. He's still engaged in counseling weekly, Your Honor. Further, Judge, my client is a full-time college student. He has a job, and he has never been in trouble, never had any criminal charges levied against him before. Your Honor, if I may begin with witnesses.
Yes.
Defense would like to call Miss Maria Ramirez.
All right, could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand if you'll state your name for the record.
Maria Rosalinda Ramirez.
Ms. Ramirez, who are you to Aaron?
I am Aaron's mother.
How old is Aaron?
Aaron is 21.
He's 21 years old.
Mhm.
Ma'am, when did you and Aaron's father separate?
He was 4 years old when we separated.
Have you been the primary influence in Aaron's life?
Yes, his father was in and out of his life. He would rekindle the relationship and then stop without any kind of explanation. So it was really hard on Aaron to kind of have that individual in his life. And I feel like I should have noticed some of those things, but unfortunately, he just always presented like being such a happy, kid that I just didn't see that he was going through so much, unfortunately. But I feel like I failed him in that part, not seeking counseling. I know now that he's seeking counseling that he has a lot of those abandonment issues and trust issues. He's been more forthcoming with his feelings, but it's really helped him to kind of express that. But he wouldn't express it when he was younger. He's never been in any type of trouble, though. He's always been very happy, very good at school, academically. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him. I know that what he did was very serious, but I just hope that the court takes his childhood into consideration and him trying his very best to kind of move forward from this situation.
Are you making any excuses for his behavior now?
Absolutely not. He's expressed to me that he wants to atone for what he did. He is remorseful. I'm just hoping that whatever the outcome of this doesn't, overshadow his whole life. He's young. He wants to continue to go to school and contribute to like society. He really is a good child. He's never been in any kind of situation where he's been in trouble. So I really feel like, whatever the outcome, whatever the sentencing, he can still overcome this and still, be a good person, contribute to a society. I don't think that his actions should just overshadow his whole entire life. He's a good child.
Ma'am, when he was growing up, did you all move frequently?
Yeah, I struggled financially to support my children. He has a sister, and so unfortunately, we had to move around a lot. I struggled. I wasn't poverty level, but yet I wasn't, I made just enough to kind of get by. So I didn't get any kind of financial assistance, unfortunately. But we had to move around a lot when he was a kid. So I know it kind of hindered him from making these like really deep connections with kids, when you've been in a school your whole life. But unfortunately, that was our situation. I had to move around a lot.
Was he attending different schools when you would move?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, unfortunately, he had to attend a lot of different schools because we had to move to different locations based on what I could afford from year to year. So,
How many schools do you think he's been to through high school?
like seven. Yeah, at least seven. Yeah, I was usually able to stay in one place for about a year to 2 years, but unfortunately, just with my financial situation, I did have to move around to try to get something like more affordable. So
In your personal opinion, do you think that this contributed to a sense of abandonment?
yeah, I mean, I really think that it more stems from just his father kind of coming into his life and then leaving without any kind of explanation. But it definitely hindered him from making like really long-term connections with other people because he had to make friends and then start over, kind of like the military child, I guess,
Yeah.
if you will, right? Unfortunately, but yeah.
Do you know one of the victims, Daniel Complex?
Yes, well, we've known him since he was about 7 years old. So they've been childhood friends for a long time.
Since he was 7?
Yes.
Ma'am, is there anything else you would like the court to know?
Just again, I just wanted to reiterate that Aaron is a really good kid. I mean, he's never been in trouble, and I don't feel that he had any type of malicious intent. Maybe he was feeling lonely or insecure about, his relationship with the victim, but I don't think that he did this to actually hurt anyone. So, thank you. Appreciate it.
And ma'am, do you have any, and be honest, please be honest with the court, you're under oath. Do you have any reservations that if the court were gracious enough to grant a term of community supervision, that Aaron would have any issues abiding by the terms?
No, I mean, I'm home with Aaron. It's me and Aaron that live together. So I oversee, his daily activities and what he's doing, and I'm here to support him. So I don't think that there'd be any issues with him having any kind of like what was it? I'm sorry, the community.
Yeah, if the court were to place
Supervision?
conditions
Yeah,
on
no,
community supervision.
I'd be able to support him in anything he does.
And lastly, ma'am, does Aaron hang out with anyone who runs afoul of the law?
No. I mean, Aaron's 21. He doesn't drink. He doesn't smoke. His idea of having fun is like maybe going to a movie or playing video games. He's never been someone that's partied or associated himself with anyone that has like a criminal record or had like, I guess bad habits.
Pass the witness.
Right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. If you raise your right hand for me, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Dawn Pettit.
Ms. Pettit, what is your relationship to Aaron?
I was his supervisor. I'm a special education teacher and he was my assistant in my classroom.
And ma'am, what kind of responsibility? Well, first off, paint us a picture of what a special education class is like.
The class that he was my assistant in is a behavior classroom. So we had the extreme behaviors in the school. We had around 8 or 9 kids that had extreme behavior, violent behavior, verbal behavior, aggressive behavior.
And what was Aaron's responsibilities in your class, ma'am?
Basically to support me and to watch the children and make sure that we had their behaviors under control. We taught the kids.
What's been your experience with working with Aaron?
It was very calm. That's a very stressful situation. It was extremely calm, never raised his voice, never got aggressive, was really sweet and nurturing with the kids. They loved him. But he was strict with them. And he was a really good assistant for me because he followed my lead.
Did he ever cause any issues in class here?
Not at all.
Have you ever witnessed Aaron to lose his temper?
No, never.
Did Aaron meet his responsibilities?
Absolutely.
Did he ever require constant or infrequent direction or attention from you for?
Sometimes he did. Sometimes he would get lost and wouldn't hear what he needed to do next.
And when he got lost, what would he do, ma'am?
He'd look at me and I'd help him out, tell him what he needed to be doing.
Would he do as you instructed, ma'am?
Yes, absolutely.
Have you ever had any disciplinary issues with Aaron?
No.
What else can you tell us about your experience with Aaron, ma'am?
He was just a really good worker and very, he came to work every day. He did what he was supposed to. Very, very nice, sweet person. And a really good assistant and really good at the kids.
How long have you been a special education teacher, ma'am?
I'm going on 30 years.
30 years.
Yes.
Thank you,
I'm
ma'am.
about to retire, hopefully.
Congratulations, ma'am. And how long did Aaron work with you?
For about a year.
For about a year?
Yeah.
So it's a full school year?
No, I started in January of 24
Mhm.
and he left in May.
You left in May?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. What else would you like the court to be aware of with Aaron?
I think he realizes he made a bad choice. I don't think it was malicious intent. I'm not sure. I mean, I know that he realizes it was a bad choice, but he's made restitution. He's gone back to school. He's taken classes. He's gotten a night job, which I'm sure is not a lot of fun, but he is trying to better himself. And I realize that, he did make a bad choice. He understands that. But I honestly don't believe that he should be extremely punished for such a thing. I think that he could make a difference in the world and make a good person, but I don't want this to stop him from being able to better himself.
Ma'am, do you think that Aaron experiences shame for what he's done?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have any concerns with Aaron being in the community?
Not at all.
Do you think, based on your experience with Aaron, do you think that he can abide by the instructions and directions of this court?
Yes.
Do you think that he would be able to abide by any conditions or provisions placed upon him if he is fortunate enough to be granted community supervision?
Yes.
All right, ma'am, no further questions. I'll pass the witness.
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Johnny Campos.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Campos, how long have you known Aaron?
I've known Aaron about 2.5 years.
And what's the nature of that relationship, sir?
I am one of his martial arts instructors, and at one class location that I teach at, and then at another school, we're both students at a different school. So I see Miss Aaron about 5 days a week.
5 days a week?
Yes, sir.
And how long is that 5 days a week then?
Since November of 2024.
And before that,
Before that, 2 days a week.
2 days a week?
Yes, sir.
Does it now? What kind of class is it again?
It's martial arts. It's American karate.
Okay. Does that require discipline?
An extreme amount of discipline. Both programs are focused at a high level competition.
Does it require dedication to the trade?
A lot of dedication.
Does Aaron, in your opinion, does Aaron exhibit discipline and dedication?
Absolutely. Outside of him participating in the martial art, he's expected at his level to help teach and instruct our other students.
And how is he with the other students?
He's very good with our other students. Our older teenage students look up to him because he's been so successful in such a short amount of time, and he's much closer in age to them than they are to any of the other instructors. And he also handles our special needs athletes very well. They really respond to him positively.
Have you ever seen Aaron lose his temper?
Never.
What else would you like the court to know about Aaron?
Since I've known Aaron, he's a very, very hard worker. Academically, he's made one of the most impressive comebacks that I've seen. I think now he's pretty close to a 4.0 student. And where he was when I originally met him, I didn't think he would recover from that. He's taking huge steps to make his life better and to improve himself continually.
Pardon me. You're aware of the nature and the allegations of the crimes?
Yes, sir.
Have you been able to discuss that with him?
I have, yes.
In your opinion, what's Aaron's attitude towards all this?
He's very remorseful for the decisions that he made. His intent wasn't malicious. He just felt like he was drifting away from a friendship.
And realizing how inappropriate it was to do what he did to maintain the relationship. Do you have any reservations of Aaron being in the community?
Absolutely not.
Do you think that the discipline and dedication that Aaron has shown around you as a student and being a classmate, do you think that he can follow any and all directives that this court should impose upon him if he's granted community supervision?
Absolutely. And he has a big support network. We're going to hold him accountable and make sure that he succeeds.
Can he hold himself accountable?
He absolutely can.
Because we do realize that Aaron's 21 and he's an adult.
Yes.
No further, we'll pass the witness, Judge.
Questions?
All right, thank
No
you.
further
Thank you.
questions. Thank you, Mr. Conlon.
Any other witnesses?
No further witnesses, Judge, if I may make a summation.
Sure. All right,
Um,
and when you make your summation, this is the court's issue, and it's based upon what's in the stipulation. So in the stipulation, it states, victim had asked his mother to go inside his bedroom in an attempt to help search for a pair of headphones. Victim lives with witness at the listed location where the offense occurred. As witness one was inside victim one's bedroom searching for the pair of lost headphones, she located E9 behind the headboard of the victim's bed. The witness, not knowing what E9 was, held on to E9 and showed it to victim one the next day. Victim one did not recognize E9 and did not know how E9 ended up inside his room behind the headboard of his bed. Victim one researched E9 using the application Google Lens and discovered E9 is used as a voice recorder. Victim one contacted victim two and the defendant for advice on what to do with E9. Victim two advised victim one to call the police and make an offense report, while the defendant advised victim one to destroy E9. The defendant also offered to come to victim one's home with his own cable in an attempt to investigate E9, and also suggested to victim one that it would not be in victim one's best interest to call the police, as victim one's parents are immigrants and a police report would jeopardize their immigrant status. That's my problem right there. So it doesn't appear, when the witnesses say that he wasn't malicious, to threaten somebody's immigrant status. This is what was stipulated to, saying don't call the police because it's going to hinder your immigrant status, or it's going to jeopardize your immigrant status. That sort of says something about his frame of mind. So I'll hear your argument.
Your Honor, to respond directly to the court's statement. Judge, my client, we can see my client here visually in court. You've heard witness testimony. I believe that my client's motivations were not malicious. He's not, in that text, he's not threatening the victim, using his immigration status as some kind of leverage not to get him to report. My client has experienced an extreme amount of shame. Now, that shame probably does not equal to or exceed the shame that the victims probably are experiencing. I can say that confidently, that my client's shame does not rise to their level of shame for this. My client has been a friend with one of the victims, Daniel Campos, since they were kids. He's a kind and caring individual. He is a sweet kid. I've had extensive interactions with Aaron. I do not believe that he was using this as leverage in a malicious way, and I know how that sounds. And I would, if my client were using that, and again, I don't believe he was, it is abhorrent that to use such a tactic to intimidate. I do not believe it was for intimidation purposes.
Well, I mean, what was it for? Because he's telling them, don't call the police, because if you do, you're going to jeopardize your immigration status.
My client wishes to address the court.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand. Is there something you wish to say?
I was genuinely afraid that he might actually lose his immigration status. I've known him for 14 years. I've known that it's the case. And throughout this whole thing, I've talked to my lawyer, I've talked to my girlfriend, that's my absolute worst fear through all of this. I told him that with the intent to go over. And I don't honestly know if I would have talked to him about it and revealed it, but I know that now I wanted nothing but to actually talk to him about this. And I understand that I might not be able to for however long, and that the consequences might be more far-ranging than that. But I swear that that was not a threat to his immigration status, and I didn't mean it as one. It was a comment I made out of fear.
Out of fear of what?
Fear of him losing his immigration status, or not being able to, that he might be deported if he actually goes through with the police report. I don't know how the law works, and to that extent, I didn't know that he had any kind of protection. I don't know if he does, and I'm very fearful of that, even now.
All right. Anything else from anyone else?
Your Honor, I would just say information.
Just one second. Any questions with regards to facts?
James, how many questions about that?
All right.
Thank you, ma'am. Your Honor, reading the PSI report, the PSI reports recommending deferred adjudication. My client has been admonished by myself as to what deferred adjudication is. He's also been admonished by myself as to the consequences of violating any conditions imposed upon him. And lastly, Judge, he's been admonished as to what this court will do and what the court's tolerance level is for any violations, and that he will be held fully accountable if he does violate, and if this court does not play around. I know that, and he's been admonished as well, that this court does believe in equity and justice, and he understands that violating any terms and conditions that the court would impose upon him, what the court's going to do if he does violate those conditions. And Your Honor, my client's 21 years old. Again, he's a full-time college student. He's working. He is actively engaged in mental health treatments on a weekly basis. He has never been in trouble before, Your Honor. And respectfully, we ask that the court grant a term of 8 years deferred adjudication, or in the alternative, 8 years community supervision, Judge. We do not believe he is a threat, an ongoing threat to this community.
Judge, if I may, I just want to correct something he said. I don't believe that PSI recommends deferred adjudication. It only indicates that he is eligible for it. My understanding is that all PSIs don't make a recommendation as to whether a defendant should be on community supervision, only that if they are eligible under the condition.
That is correct.
Here you go.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. All right, this is what the court is going to do. The court is going to find you guilty. The court is taking in consideration 2024 CR 010521, CM 119819. And I want you to know that I did listen to all of your witnesses. And I took all of that in consideration, as well as the PSI report and as well as your statement. The court is going to sentence you to 2 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. There's a $3,000 fine, time and money to run concurrent. Did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Your Honor.
All right, because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. All right, good luck to you.
Judge, before we end this, if I may, could we also have that no contact order that's part of the plea agreement attached to this?
No, I said no contact with the complainant.
Sorry, I missed it. Sorry.
No problem.
Your Honor,
Thank you. Yes.
I don't know what court's policy is. May my client's mother give him one last hug? It might be some.
No, they don't allow that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Your
you.
Honor.